my silly gooses. Welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents Podcast Midweek Breakdown, presented by G2 and hosted by G2. I am G2, and I want to ask, how are you on this Wednesday morning, afternoon, or night? All depends on whenever you're listening to this episode. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend and great Labor Day in general. I know certain people didn't, because I got to talk about something that kind of floated through the internet this past weekend. But before I get to that, I do want to say, anybody that's going to Burning Man, I hope you guys did make it home. I saw on the news that it was raining and it got muddy, and I'm not certain how Burning Man usually goes. I just know people go out there usually just to try to be free and take narcotics. That's usually the Burning Man sentiment. But this year, not so much. You guys got rained out and just stuck there. So hopefully you guys are back to your homes. You guys are back to your jobs, or wherever you guys cohabit. So that's one thing. But I want to get to something that really got at me in a couple of different ways. This past week, that was floating on social media, we saw a woman in a hospital, and her face was deformed because she says that a man smacked her in the face with a brick because the man did not get the woman's number. She did not want to give it to him, so he decided to smack her in the face with a brick. Now, everybody would be out there on social media, and the woman was a black woman, and they would go and look at her past social media activity, and they would discover a TikTok that she made, and she talked about how black women don't need men to protect them, and this and that, yada, yada, yada. And now people are trying to hearken to that and say, well, if she didn't need a black man to protect her, why is she calling for black men to protect her now? Why didn't she act that way before? Now she's trying to switch up. Let me say this right now. And there's different ways we can look at this. First one, nobody, and I don't give a damn who you are, should be smacking anybody in the face with a fucking brick just because someone didn't give you their number. That's insanity. Do you know how insane that is? Someone tells you no because they didn't want to give you their number, and you decide, okay, I'm going to smack you in the head with a brick. That's one. Two, you shouldn't be threatening anybody just because they give you the answer of no. Respect the answer, move on. I'm pretty sure there's other ladies inside this club or inside this location, or just in general in the world, that if you ask for their number, they're going to tell you no, but you might get one out of the 1,000 or 100 that you asked, and they might actually give you their number because they're willing to give you a shot. But nobody should be smacking anybody in the face with a brick just because of no. Now, the thing that people got on was black men not protecting this woman because she was surrounded by black men. She would show the after effects. She says that these black men didn't help me, and they just stood there. Now, here's where we get into a situation where I look at this two ways. I look at it in one way that, yes, the black men should have helped her at that moment, or at least told homeboy, hey, yo, what are you doing with the brick? Put it down. What are you doing? Something of that magnitude, because if you see somebody pick up a brick or some type of object and they're threatening someone to hit them with that object, you would just, being a civilian alone, you would be like, yo, dog, that's wild, and what you doing? Put the brick down, put the object down. This isn't worth it, dude. This, just because she said no, it doesn't mean you got to do that. That's one aisle of this. Just plain common simple, men should have set up and did something about that. That's one. Now here's where the opposite side, and people might not want to admit this, but this is the truth. There will be men and there will be women that will watch an accident unfold, and they will just go about their merely day because certain people mind their damn business. And that's just plain and simple. Certain people have witnessed cousins, brothers, or even just people that they know that have got into somebody else's business and something bad happened to them, and they learned, hey, yo, listen, that could happen to me. Don't do it. Certain people have grown up in a household that might say, mind your business. If it has nothing to do with you, mind yours. Because if you insert yourself into it now, you're bringing that trouble onto you. Now, some of those people might have been those black men standing right there at that particular instance. Now, I'm not too hearkened on the men that did nothing. Yes, they should have done something. But again, me being a black man, me having a parents that told me, hey, if it doesn't If it doesn't have anything to do with you, stay in your own lane. But me being who I was at my core, I always stood up for people that were in I always stood up for people that were the outcasts, that were people that got picked on. I will always take them underneath my wing or in my area, if you get my drift. I always try to stick up for them. So in a way, I minded my business until it got to a point like, okay, now I got to step in because this is ridiculous. Certain people are just built that way. I'm not going to crap on the black men that didn't do nothing. I would have loved for them to do something, but I'm not going to crap on them the way that I see people on social media now crapping on black men as a whole. You don't know what it's like to be a black man in America unless you're a black man or unless you are a black mother raising a black man. You do not have a pass to say anything to a black man in this instance. It's all about who that person is in general. They could have been white man, they could have did something, they could have been a Latino man, they could have been anything. But since it's a black woman getting hit in the face by somebody and black men was around, it's going to be deemed black men aren't nothing. Black men are trash, black men are this or that. Listen, again, if it doesn't apply to you, let it fly. But you cannot just put that as black men are nothing. You got to say these black men right here, they were nothing because they did not help me. And that's cool to say that, because that's going to be your way, because you got hit in the face with a brick and black men were watching. However, again, you don't know what they were taught. You don't know what they have seen in their life. So I'm not going to be too crucial on those black men. I'm just going to be criticizing and critiquing the man that happened to hit you in the face. That's the only person I can say. Now, I wish they would have at least dogpiled on him before it got to that point. I wish that they would have gotten man's name and all that type of stuff so this woman could write a police report, because if you see her face, it is lopsided. I mean, you see the big bruising on the right hand side. That is not great. It was trash. And I hope she is able to get some type of redemption. I hope she's able to get some type of something from this, because somebody smacking somebody in the face, that isn't the right thing to do, especially over something as minuscule as asking for someone's number and not getting it. It's not right. It wasn't fair. It's not good. But again, I'm not going to lambaste black men or lambaste the black men that were watching the incident. I can't do that. Again, there's two ways you can see it. I happen to see it both sides, but I'm not going to lambaste them. I'm only going to lambaste the jackass that smacked her in the face with a brick. So that's just my opinion on that. You're going to hear a lot of other people's opinions on this on social media. There probably are people saying stuff now. I just needed to say this for me as a black man that has a young sister. I can't fault anybody that's going to be watching from the side. Only thing I can say is I hope and I will wish that people that are watching something happen to someone else will actually step up. But again, you got to take into offense or take into your idea what has someone else been raised in or what has someone else seen as well. Again, in this society, we don't think that. We always think of why didn't they help off top? Why we always just think like critically and emotionally right then and there. Why didn't they? Instead of, okay, now that that's passed, I can see why somebody didn't. It's always going to take somebody else that's looking outward to say, yo, that's probably a reason why they didn't jump in. That's the reason why they probably didn't interrupt or get involved in this. But hopefully, again, nobody else has to go through this. And I do hope that Neanderthal behavior like this never ever happens again to anybody, because it's not right. Point blank simple, it's not right. It's not fair to anyone, whether it be a man, woman, trans. It's not right to anyone just to get smacked upside the head with a foreign object like that. It's not cool. It's not right for anybody to do that just over something, again, as minuscule as not getting a number, basically being rejected. It's not cool. It's not fair. So hopefully, as I said, humanity will evolve from this type of behavior and learn how to conduct themselves in a way whenever you are rejected, and just go about your business. Because I will say this, even though this was a man that hit a woman in the face and the focus has to be studied and stayed on this man, I will say this, certain women are not great with being rejected either. Certain women will do certain things to men and men will just hold it in more. certain men got splashed with drinks, certain people might get hit in the face or whatever the crap may have you. Again, men have their own things, and I guarantee there's men that have been in the nightlife and been in clubs and got asked their numbers and rejected a woman. They probably have some stories to tell you about them getting clocked upside the head or anything like that. But I will say again, it's not cool. It's not right. I want humanity to learn to keep their hands to themselves in a rejection-based manner if you are rejected. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But again, I still send my condolences to this woman for getting smacked upside the face with a brick. It's not cool. It's not right. And it's not fair. Now, before I get you guys out of here, I do want to talk about this because this will involve your children's, if you have children. This comes from The Hill, as the article would state, facing mounting challenges, school embraced a 4-day week. Hundreds of U.S. school districts have sought to combat the teacher shortage and raise the quality of life for their students and faculty by making a big change, a 4-day week. The trend of the 4-day week has been rising among American companies and schools since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, with many finding benefits to having an extra day off. In schools, most students and teachers are getting Friday or Monday off while having slightly longer school days the rest of the week to make up for the missing day. The number of school districts with a 4-day school week has increased to about 850 districts nationally. 2 years ago, it was about 650. So it's going up, said Aaron Peleas, professor of sociology and education at Teachers College, Columbia University. The trend towards 4-day school weeks is in part a response to multiple educational issues that flared up during the pandemic, including teacher retention and absenteeism. Governors in multiple states have turned to creative solutions to tackle teacher shortages, including bringing educators from other states or even veterans to take over classrooms. The 4-day week has largely been implemented in smaller communities grappling with the problem, according to Peleas. Peleas would also say that many small rural districts have difficulty attracting and retaining teachers, and the theory is that teachers will value an additional day that they can spend with their families and an additional day that can allow for teacher preparation, grading, and planning. Now, going along further in the article, they would say there would be some concerns nationally about shedding a day in class, and the concerns would include parents struggling to find childcare and getting meals to hungry students. Peleas would say that I've seen some districts that make childcare available, but parents have to pay for it like $30 a day, and that's a real direct cost to parents. It is also unclear how the extra long school days will affect students who have to be in class a certain number of hours to meet state requirements. There is some concerns that kids get worn down by long school days, particularly for younger children. Long school days challenge their attention spans. The real test will be how the 4-day school week will affect students academically, with little evidence yet available on its effect on learning. So, bringing this article to you, I just want to say this. Now, if your kids get brought back from a 5-week to a 4-week, I think it would be great. I know certain people might say, what about the kids that do not have parent structure in their home, or they might not have the food necessary for their home? I would say this: probably pack the kid a lunch. I would say the school, because the school would know who can afford lunch, who can't afford lunch. I would think certain schools know the families who are in bad condition and families that aren't in bad conditions. At least there have been talks about this even when I was in school, even in the front offices. Like, you would see the principals and the teachers talk about certain kids' home life. And I've seen this personally. So, I think the school knows who's in a bad shape and who isn't. So I would think that they need to pack the kid a lunch, have the lunch ladies pack the kid a lunch for that day that they're not there, have them be a breakfast and a lunch one if the schools are worried about the kids going hungry, or they can have the school opened up for a certain amount of hours for a breakfast portion and then the lunch portion, or have it set up for these many set hour dates for the kids to come in to help out on their homework or whatever it may have you, like a summer school situation for that 5th day. Let it be an optional situation for the kids that are wanting to be there for their educational purposes. If they're not understanding a problem or understanding a homework, let them come in. go to a teacher, go to any teacher that they're dealing with and have them, hey, can you help me with this? Or can you help me understand this? Let that 5th day be that for that kid and also that teacher, because one, the teacher will know, okay, I expect this person to come in or that person to come in and I can help them with this and I can help them with their homework and such like that. And also it allows the teacher to grade and prep whatever may have you inside that classroom. Now, let it be known that every Friday or every Monday is going to be that situation, because the teacher will like to have that day off. They need to recoup. They need to spend time with their own family and such may have you. But I think the school administration needs to handle that. If we're going to turn it to a 4-day to a 5-day, I have no problem with that. I think that kids shouldn't be in school all 5 days. I thought that since I was a kid. I thought that is ridiculous. I think the kids being in there for 5 days, it was stupid. It was not the best, because especially now with the kids now, their attention span is low. Unless they really like that classroom, they like the teacher, they like the people around them, and that's how you keep high energy with that kid. And usually that's not always the case. There's always going to be a class that the kid hates, and they always look at the clock and say, damn, why isn't this class going faster? Why aren't we out of here yet? I've had those number of times. So again, I wouldn't be mad if they turn the schools into a 4-day situation instead of a 5, but just on that extra day, just let that be a day that the school is open and certain teachers are in there to grade their stuff, prep their next week class, and also allow this to be a time for kids that are struggling or might need the help, or they might not have stuff inside their home to eat. Let them go in there and get whatever they need to get from that day. So that's just my thought. I saw this article and I thought, why not bring it to you guys? Because it's the midweek. So yeah, hopefully I'll get some type of answers. I'll ask my parents about how they feel about that. And I hope to bring you guys that type of information, what they thought about it on Sunday's episode. But yeah, now with me going over my 15-minute time limit, it's time for me to get you guys out of here. If you guys did not listen to my Sunday episode, it's called Investigation. Go and listen to that. And also, if you are a person that listens to professional wrestling, I have a review of AEW All Out and also WWE's Payback, the pay-per-views that happened this past weekend. I have those reviews up and loaded right now. So now with all the self-promotion out of the way, it's time for me to give you guys your song of the week. The song of the week for this week is called FUNKFEST by GroupTherapy. That's the group's actual name. They're a group out of California. I just discovered this group this past weekend. I'm trying to catch up on some of their past songs that they've done. But anywho, the song for this week is FUNKFEST by GroupTherapy, and I'll speak to you guys later.
So let's just stick together.
Do you love me? I might need you to prove it. Do you love me? If I tell you to do it, would you trust me? If I tell you to do it, would you trust me? I bet you couldn't tell me. Do you love me? I might need you to prove it. Do you love me? If I tell you to do it, would you trust me? If I tell you to do it, would you trust me? Would you trust me? Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
nobody thinks that we suck, because if they do, that sucks for them.
That's true. I'm not gonna be everybody's favorite, and at the end of the day, I think I'm okay with it.
She how she know, baby don't like pop, she a popsicle. She don't wanna get drunk, but she like the drove. She like the rock and I like the roll. She bought a boo and I like them bold. Okay, get online and get surfing. Hey, know you trying to be perfect, bitch, your glass house needs surfing. I'm afraid an optimist, cutting up apologist. Okay, I made it all the way with me, that's just anonymous. Okay, I'm no psychiatrist.